Hey guys, how y'all doing? It's TJ. I hope y'all are doing well. I've been MIA. For some reason, I've been MIA. I kind of broke my promise to y'all. I've had a lot going on recently. Different family issues, dealing with my mom, and just life. Um, just life. Like I always say, life is gonna life. Life is gonna life. So you just have to take it in stride and keep on moving. Nothing you can really do about it. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep living. Um, but yeah, I do miss making videos. So this is kind of it feels almost new all over again because I got so used to. I got in my stride, if that makes sense. I got in my stride. But anyhow, can we talk? Can we talk? I'm walking, actually. There's this guy I watch on YouTube. He does a lot of educational videos, and he does them walking. And I don't know. I wanted to try it. I don't really have a. Usually, if I'm away from home, I don't really have a place to really shoot a video, an ideal place to shoot a video. So I thought to myself, why don't I walk? Why not walk and get some exercise at the same time? So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna continue. And I'm back as far as I know right now. Yeah, just had a lot of life events. Can we talk? Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. I wrote down a couple notes. Like I said, I'm walking. I ran across this crazy story this morning, and I've been contemplating it all day. How I'm gonna talk about it, and I don't really have I still don't really have a set plan of how I'm gonna talk about it, but yeah, we're just gonna spit it out and I'm just gonna speak on it. I'm just gonna speak on whatever comes to my heart. It's like I said, my channel is not to tear people down. It's to lift people up. It's to encourage us to do better as people. Encourage us to treat each other better. Encourage us to be better people. Better parents, better children to our parents, better citizens to each other. Yeah. But this story comes out of Wadsworth, Ohio. It's actually well, I wouldn't say old, but it is old. It's not recent. 2018, April 2018. Some gruesome stuff, man. This kid, and y'all know I call them babies. This kid, Gavon Ramsay, then 17 years old, took it upon himself to enter his neighbor's home. His neighbor's name was Margret Douglas. She was 98 years old. Beautiful old lady, beautiful elderly lady. She lived alone. And my sincerest condolences to Miss Margaret's family for such the tragic loss of her life. My sincerest condolences go out to her family, who had to find her in such a state. This 17-year-old kid helped himself into Miss Margaret's home and videotaped her as she slept. He waited good until it got dark. He videotaped her as she slept. And then he proceeded to beat her, to violate her, and then he strangled her until she was gone. And then he proceeded to video her some more. Videoed her some more. And then, Jesus, Lord have mercy. Then he desecrated her body. He urinated all over her, just sick. He desecrated her body as if all the other stuff wasn't enough. He desecrated her body. Yeah. It's a lot of reasons I chose this story, and we're gonna get into them. And this ain't gonna be a long video, guys. I know I can be long-winded because sometimes I just have to get it out. So I can be long-winded. But I really wanted to speak on this story because if you've watched some of my past videos, I've spoken on, holding children accountable for their actions and holding their feet to the fire and bringing them up in a way where they feel accountable. If you don't put into them responsibility, children don't really have a sense of accountability because nothing's expected of them. They don't have any sense of accountability no matter what they do. Yeah. So I'm gonna turn around. I hope this I got a scar there. I keep getting ingrown hairs there. It's annoying, but yeah. So that's better. Not so close. But yeah. This story is really sad because the lady, she was 98 years old. Like, she was so close to 100. Like, she really didn't have a chance of even attempting to fight off her perpetrator. A virile, young 17-year-old boy. And he was a big boy. So there was really nothing she could do even to defend herself. If she even tried, she would probably have broken her bones trying to defend herself. That's what I know. That's what I know. She would have hurt herself more trying to defend herself. Probably broken her bones, broken her wrists, broken her arms, broken her legs, which is crazy. Just helpless. That's the word for it. She was helpless. And this dude let himself into her house. When they were sentencing the young man, of course, but why not? Of course, his family was there. And her family was there, rightfully. But his family was there. His mother, I can't really remember if his father was there. But his family, primarily his mother, was there. And she proceeded to the stand to give some remarks on the situation and the situation of her kid. And never really, crazy thing, never really spoke on how sorry she was that her son committed such a heinous act against these people's family member. She never really spoke on it. All this lady wanted to speak on was why she felt like her son did what he did to this elderly woman. A bunch of excuses she provided to the court on why she felt like her son did what he did. Her son didn't have a good upbringing. Her son took a medication that made him do crazy stuff. Her son was raised in a disadvantaged community. Do you think that those people sitting in that courtroom really cared about that? Do you think Miss Margret Douglas's family really cared about how your son was raised? Is that what you think? Y'all remember the last video? Well, I can't remember if it was my last video, but I spoke on just this. And this is primarily why I'm doing a video on this. This is why I'm doing this video particularly. Of course, to highlight the heinous manner that this boy committed this crime on this elderly lady. But to really truly highlight the mindset of the parents, no sense of accountability did she provide to these people, to this lady's loved ones. No sense of accountability. All she wanted to do was get her son off as best as possible for videoing this lady while she slept, beating her, violating her, desecrating on her, and strangling her until she died. And the best you have is to get up in a public courtroom, in a public setting, and justify the reason your son did what he did to this lady. Trash. Absolutely trash. Absolutely trash. First of all, the people in the courtroom don't really care how you grew up or how your son grew up. If y'all remember, I told y'all these people are doing a job, and they are absolutely gonna get degeneracy off the street. They're gonna do that. They're gonna do their job, and locking your degeneracy up is merely a stroke of a pen to them. Locking your degenerate offspring up is merely the stroke of a pen to them. It doesn't matter to them. It matters to them not how your son grew up disadvantaged or in a underprivileged household. It doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them. Your son absolutely has common sense and knows right from wrong. He does know that, and we all do. So that doesn't matter to them. And you getting up, stating it, voicing it, putting the words into the atmosphere, it really spoke on, it really said, it said to me, did he grow up in a disadvantaged household? Or did he just grow up in a household where there was no accountability? Because it sounds like you don't have any either. It sounds like you don't have any. Instead of, first of all, even being there, because y'all remember I said, how dare I, if this was my child, he would be standing alone. He would be standing, absolutely, he would be standing alone. You did that, and you are gonna stand alone in it. Do with you as they may. If you did something so heinous, do with you as they may. Because I wouldn't want you to do that to my grandmother or my mother or my grandfather or my father do with you as they may. Absolutely, yes. And as a parent, to even sit in the courtroom, again, like I spoke on in a previous video, to even sit in the courtroom as moral support for what? As moral support for what? Then you have the audacity to even stand up in the courtroom and to speak to the judge and the jury on why you think your son did what he did. Not an ounce of remorse, not an ounce of compassion to this woman's family for what your son did to their family member, their elderly family member, 98 years old. This your son didn't come up in a disadvantaged household. He came up in a household where there was no accountability. And that's why he helped himself into Miss Margret Douglas's house. That's why. That's why. And you really told on yourself when you stood up in the courtroom and tried to defend why he did what he did. Gavon Ramsay got life without parole. The mother even attached herself to a task force. The task force's purpose was to try to let me make sure I say this right, okay? The task force's purpose was to try to have a law changed where adolescents can't be sentenced to life or sentenced to death if they did something so heinous such as this. They can't be sentenced to death. So, and actually the law did pass, so they didn't sentence him to death, because otherwise I'm sure they probably would have. They just sentenced him to life without the possibility of parole. So she did a 1-2 punch. You know how they say about the chicken commercial, 1-2? She did a 1-2 punch. She went and became a part of a task force to try to ally for her son, which she has every right, absolutely she has every right to do. I'm holding this camera. I'm gonna get me a gimbal. I'm just looking at them. I don't know the best kind to get yet, so if y'all know the best kind of gimbal to use, you know, like something quality, y'all let me know, because I'm actually shopping for one, because I'm holding this phone with my hand and I'm all over the place like this, and it's everywhere. But this lady attached herself to a task force. Oh, hold on a second for me. Attached herself to a task force to try to get her son a lesser charge, really, because she wasn't interested in it before then, until her son did something so heinous. So she attached herself to this task force, and then she stood up in the courtroom and tried to justify why her son did what he did. He grew up in an underprivileged community, in an underprivileged household. He took medication. Heinous. Yeah, and in my opinion, I really don't care what the amount of medication is that your son has to take. If he did something such as this to my grandmother, I really would prefer life. Well, no, I take that back. No, I really would prefer the death penalty. Yeah, if he did something so heinous. Yeah, me. Me. The next person might feel different. But there's no, what do they call it when they try to reacclimate them into society? Rehabilitation. There's no rehabilitation for such a crime. If this is in you, there's no rehabilitation from that. I'm so sorry. And I don't know what kind of people may believe that that could be rehabilitated, but it can't. If something so heinous exists in you, that can't be rehabilitated. I'm so sorry to break it to some people, but they can't be rehabilitated. Um, Hell, there's another story just recently, and I'm just speaking on this because I'm it's tying into this rehabilitation narrative. I'm just gonna speak on it briefly because it's not the point. It's not this. It's not a part of this story, but it ties in. This woman's son recently got out of prison. This was a very recent story. Her son got out of prison and came home to her. She brought him home to her and her younger son, who had just graduated high school. And the son that just got out of prison unalived her and her youngest son. Yeah, he did that. Absolutely. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he did that. I don't know the story behind it, but I heard about it, and I might do a video on it, but I don't want it to take away from the story that I'm talking about today. But I wanted to bring in the correlation of this rehabilitative ideal that some people have when some people commit such heinous crimes. It's it's disgusting. There, no. But yeah, guys, this ain't gonna be a long video. But again, my most sincere condolences go out to Miss Margret Douglas's family. This was some years ago, but I'm sure something so tragic and traumatizing, it doesn't just go away like that. I'm sure they probably think about it every day. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm definite of it. They probably think about it every day in the manner that they found their loved one and what happened to her and what probably she was going through in her last moments of life at the hands of this animal. Yeah. But I'm gonna let y'all go. I thank y'all for watching. Y'all please subscribe, like, comment. I like discussion. So please comment on the videos. I love discussion. I love healthy debate. I love discussion. So comment on the videos, like the videos. And I am back. Like I said, I just had a lot going on, a lot of issues with my mother, trying to get her on the right track and just work. Yeah, just a lot of life. But so I will be doing more videos, and I hope y'all hang around. All right. Like, share, and subscribe. All right, peace.